City, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics from Kanye to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. What a show we got for you today. We will be joined by the Joe Aguirre in studio, coming back. A week absence, but he's coming back. The World Series so-called matchup is upon us. We get the matchup that all baseball fans want. We also have to talk about the LA Dodgers. Once again, failing miserably in the playoffs. We'll talk about that all as well. We'll be joined by the great big old Knish Charles Reether to talk a huge slate of games this week. We got Texas, Oklahoma, Ted's Gators. Can they stay hot? Are they for real? And then we got a bunch of games actually. Got Clemson, got Alabama. A lot of big games this week. A good week, but has college football been bland so far this year? We'll talk about that at all. But we are starting off with some good old NFL talk. And last night, as you know, for all of us, most Patriot fans are haunted by the two upsets of the New York Giants. But ladies and gentlemen, there was no upset last night. Had the makings of a team playing hard for almost 60 minutes. 3.5 quarters, the New York Giants played as best they can against supposedly, to many, and to me, the best team in football right now, the New England Patriots. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to ask you one serious question. And I'm asking you this as well, Ted. What did we expect from the New York Giants last night? Did we expect, in reality, the New York Giants to go into a place where the last time a rookie quarterback has won was the great Mark Sanchez back in 2009? No other rookie quarterback has been able to beat a Tom Brady team in almost 10 years, since in high school. When I was in high school, Ted, what did we really expect from the New York Giants last night? Without Saquon Barkley, without Evan Ingram, without Sterling Shepard, without Wayne Gallman, and their best weapon, Golden Tate. What were they really supposed to do? What was Daniel Jones supposed to do? What I saw last night was a team that gave an effort for 3.5 quarters. They were in this game, a touchdown down game, a 7-point game until 8:30 left in the game. So pretty much 3.5 quarters, the New York Giants played their heart out, gave it all they got for a team undermanned, and like I said, playing the New England Patriots, where most teams don't have great success. And the Patriots did their part, but the Giants also played their part as best they can for 3.5 quarters, and it's about the future. I continuously am going to say it for here on out. This is why Saquon Barkley's not playing. Because it's about the future. It's not about week 7 or week 8 of this year. It's about it's about the Super Bowl in 3 or 4 years, 5 years down the road. We want to be in championships. We want to be winning those. And that's what it's all about. Ted, like I said, what did you expect last night? Did you expect the New York Giants to go into Foxborough and beat the mighty Patriots?
No, I didn't.
So it's not a surprise.
They were a 17-point favorite.
They covered the spread, too.
They did cover the spread. You know, it's funny. I was looking at the spreads earlier last week, and I'm like, what's the Giants spread with the Patriots? And my buddy was like, 16.5. Ended up going up to 17. Some people might have got it at 18. Really doesn't matter. No one expected the Giants to win. Neither did I. I was actually going to, in a gambler sense, see if I could tease it down and make it accessible, because I'm like, maybe the Giants will play hard and they'll keep it under 17. They did not cover. Whatever. But that's not here.
It happens.
That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the football game. It's funny. I was like, the Giants are going to win 17.
They were playing so well. They had their opportunities. You're thinking
Ronnie was over. You're watching the Patriots. My girl Kat was a Patriot fan, so they're watching the game, and you don't really know what to take away. You look at the Giants game, and you're like, you had mentioned it. They're out with 65% of their offense. That was what the report.
Their best weapon was Golden Tate.
I just wonder what the Giants would have looked like last night if they had some of those weapons. So my takeaways from the game is Giants defense, best effort I've seen all season.
Yeah.
Best effort I've seen.
Well, you said it too. I think you said it. You play to your levels competition. It happens in any sport. You could be playing a terrible team, but you always play to your level's competition. That's what the New England Patriots did as well.
I also think last night showed two things. One, that the Giants maybe are not as bad as everyone thinks they are.
They're not a bad team.
And the second takeaway is I think everyone needs to take a step back on the New England Patriots. Stop thinking that they're the best team since 2007. They're not. That they have flaws. And it showed it.
Their defense
is stout. Now, they haven't played anyone offensively all season. I know, listen, you play to who your competition is and who they are. But they played the Jets, the Dolphins, the Redskins, the Giants, and the Bills. Oh, and they played the Steelers. Yes, I know week 1. But take away that week 1 game and where the Steelers were fully healthy. They haven't played any offense that's challenged that defense yet at this part of the season. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones was the quarterback. Josh Allen and Matt Barkley were the quarterback. Okay, Luke Falk was the quarterback for the Jets. Rosen was the quarterback.
Rosen and Fitzpatrick were the quarterbacks.
And the Redskins quarterback.
And then Big Ben. That was
Colt McCoy.
And that was it. Big Ben.
He came back. And Big Ben. They haven't played anyone.
No, they haven't.
Now, you look at the game. You take away the punt block. You take away the pick.
The fumble. Yes.
Fumble. The Giants lose by 7 last night. Now, is that more... What do you take away? Is that more to the Giants' benefit or to the Patriots? I think it's a moral victory for the Giants, but I think it shows flaws in New England's offense going forward because we know what the Giants are. You said it. We are rebuilding. This is all about the future. Gaining momentum toward the future. But Daniel Jones last night made a lot of mistakes, rookie mistakes. It's okay.
It's okay.
Fourth game.
It's going to happen.
He didn't have his weapons. Imagine how much more growth he will have next year when he has those weapons against the Patriots.
We have one of our comments say they still would have never. Yeah, we understand that they would have not won the game. That's obvious.
Wasn't about winning.
It wasn't about winning the game. It was. It could have been more competitive if you have all. I have a couple takeaways from this game. The defense played remarkable for 3.5 quarters. And Ted, like you said, you hit it right on the nail. The Patriots offense is very questionable. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. Josh Gordon goes down. The offensive line is suspect. The Patriots Brady got blitzed. Brady got sacked a couple times. The Giants did a very good job.
And the Giants have a bad defense, so what's that say about New England?
Other than Janoris Jenkins giving up more plays, they really should start considering finding trade options for him and get just another draft pick.
Move on.
Just keep getting draft pick because you want to really move on from the Jerry Reese era, Gettleman. Get rid of Janoris Jenkins. That's one of the final pieces.
You might be able to get a 3rd or 4th round for him.
Probably something because teams, you can never go wrong with enough cornerback depth. Another takeaway, Shermer. Terrible play calling again. I don't understand with the screens. I understand if you're doing this with Saquon Barkley or even Wayne Gallman. But when you have John Hillman as your main back and you're running about 4 or 5 screenplays that did not go absolutely anywhere for the same result last night, why are you still running that play? On 3rd and 9, you decide to run or pass the ball, a screenplay on top of it where Van Noy gets the ball and goes for the touchdown and seals the game.
You know what's funny? When's the last time the Giants actually ran a good screen?
I can't. Other than Saquon, I don't even know.
They are the worst screen team.
It's just not. The play calling has been, look, the defense has played hard. The offense has had moments this year. But the play calling has been suspect, and that's on Shermer and Shula as well.
The 4th down call.
And yes, that's what I'm saying. You're down 28-14. You decide to punt the ball. What the hell does that say? You're throwing the white flag, and I know you're not winning, but go for it for goodness sake. As a coach, just go for it. It's 4th and 2. What do you got to lose? You're not winning. Just stay in the game and play competitive. Why punt the ball? And the other thing.
Hold on. Especially, and not just to jump in on that.
No, that's fine.
So the win was a big factor, especially in the second half of the game. You saw that with Bill Belichick multiple times going for it for 4th down. He went for it on 4th and 7 instead of kicking.
And the Giants stopped him a couple times
instead of kicking a 50-yard field goal. You just said it. It was 4th and 2 late in the game. It's 28-14. You're probably not going to win the game. But what do you have to lose, right? You end up punting the ball for 30 yards because the ball ended up getting caught up in the wind. So, listen, go for it. 4th and 2. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Daniel Jones can make a throw because he was 48% last night in tight throws.
Tight window throws
on next-gen stats. That was the highest
in the league.
In all the league. Okay,
Past 4
seasons. If you watched the game last night, a couple of the slants that he threw, I couldn't believe he got the ball.
If you watched last night's game, the way they played defense, the Patriots, you would have thought the Patriots were going to win by, I know they won by 3 touchdowns, but that score really doesn't give you the honest score. That was a 21-14 game for 3.5 quarters. That was a closely contested game for the entirety of that game.
And then
until the end. Take the fumble and the punt block touchdown, and you got a 21-14 final score. And the final take.
And the Giants had 3 picks. They had multiple. The Giants didn't play a clean game at all. So considering that the game was as close as
defensively,
for as long as it was,
defense looked like their strong suit last night.
Yeah, it was surprising.
But we knew that this offense coming into it was going to be very hard to gain some yards on this defense. The best defense right now in the NFL.
Plus on a short week.
Exactly. All their main starters out other than Golden Tate. What did you expect from them? And my last thing, and we talked about it, referee calling again atrocious. The pass interference. And I was reading this article quick, the article you showed me before the show. The reason they're not calling pass interferences is very simple. They don't want to make a mistake. And you could thank Saint fans. You could thank Sean Payton for them crying about the blatant call that was missed last year. It's because of that you're not seeing these pass interference calls, which they made the rule this year. They get reviewed and get overturned because referees in the NFL do not want to make a mistake. So if you want to blame people, if you want to blame anybody, blame the Saints and blame Sean Payton, blame the Saint fans because they're the complainers. They're the ones, yes, they got screwed last year. We know that. But the reason they're not making calls like that, the Golden Tate play you just talked about, very simple. They don't want to make the mistake. Those are my takeaways from the game. The Giants played hard. The Patriots offense is very suspect right now. Their defense is great. I don't care who they're playing. It's going to be hard to score points on them. And the referee, again, was atrocious. But I give credit to the Giants. Play calling was suspect, but Daniel Jones did what he could.
Moral victory last night.
Yes, it was a moral victory. Daniel Jones could do what he only could do with the players surrounding him that were on the field, and he did the best he can. The offensive line did pretty good as well. The defense was a strong suit last night, and good for the defense because this is a defense we thought was going to be one of the worst in the league, and they're playing as best they can with limited stars. So that's my takeaway. Well, go figure. I guess we don't know what we're talking about. That's my biggest takeaways from the game last night. If you're a Giant fan and you're not excited about the future, then shame on you. Because the Giants' future will be bright when you have all those weapons coming back 100%. And it's only going to get better. Got cap space coming next year. You're going to get a top 10 pick. If you're a Giant fan, we thought the Giants were going to be good for a long time. You get Daniel Jones. I had a Patriot fan text me, Ronnie Kong. He said, I really like Daniel Jones. He looks good. He plays the part. He looks like a franchise quarterback. As a Giant fan, from another opposing team, that's all you want.
That's all you want, bud.
That's all you want. So, any other thing you wanted to? How do you feel as a Giant fan? Do you feel good going into the future?
No, it was just a fun game last night.
But do you feel good going? Do you feel good?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm a realistic fan. I understand. Okay.
From where you were, how about this? From where you were in April to where they are now, how do you feel?
I'm so much happier. Listen, I know the offensive line still needs improvement. Okay, they played better last night. There were still mistakes, but that happens. Okay, when you're not the Patriots, mistakes happen. Now, Patriots make mistakes. Everyone did.
Brady didn't look good last night.
Brady did not look good last night.
No.
Okay, he did not look Tom Brady-esque. He was not efficient.
Yep.
Okay. Now, was that weather? Was that because of lack of weapons? Was that the Giants' defense? Maybe it's a combo of everything. But from a Giant fan, you have to be satisfied for what you saw offensively last night. Defensively. There was improvement. Mm-hmm. There was improvement considering the Vikings game when they gave up almost 500 yards of total offense.
We knew that was going to happen.
Okay. So you saw improvement there on a short week. Daniel Jones made throws, but he also made mistakes.
He did what only he can work with.
Yes. I mean, come on. You had a rookie receiver. You had Golden Tate coming off a 4-game suspension, his second game.
Yeah.
Okay, he wasn't really.
But he looked good last night. He played well.
The defense, listen, we know we don't have really much on defense. We're improving.
It's all about the future, folks. That's what it's all about as a Giant fan. The future. It's not about the next 5 weeks. It's the next 5 years.
When the spread is 17 points, that means the team has no hope.
Speaking of the future, we thought this man was going to be the future at one point during our lifetime, and that was Odell Beckham Jr. Well, guess what's going on with Odell Beckham Jr.? Remember when everybody was bashing the Giants and, oh my God, the darlings of the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, we're going to the Super Bowl. We get Odell Beckham Jr. I guess, Ted, they forgot that you need to have an offensive line to win a Super Bowl. And the Cleveland Browns are far from that. Now the rumors are that the Cleveland Browns are fielding offers for Odell Beckham Jr. Gabe Gettleman and the Giants organization is like, I love it. They're sitting back, relaxing because they don't have to deal with this. The Cleveland Browns have become the New York Giants. But this is what Jerry Reese and the Giants were doing. They built everything from the outside, and what did we have? We had minimal quarterback play in Eli, and the offensive line was one of the worst in the league. And look what's happening right now. Look what Baker Mayfield did last year.
But I don't fault Beckham. I know. I
don't blame him. But look what Baker Mayfield did last year with a decent offensive line. He had the best statistical season as a rookie ever. And now look at him this year. Look at Baker Mayfield this year. They have no offensive line. Their offensive line is getting
regressed. He's regressed.
The whole team has. Because when you're getting the ball and 2 seconds later you have a defensive end in your face, what are you supposed to do with that? We were saying it for years about Eli Manning.
Remember last year we had a poll. I showed you last week.
Yeah, Seattle versus the Giants. Who had the worst offensive line?
They were atrocious, both of them.
My point is that you've seen it. We saw it for plus years with the Giants' offensive line, horrible. Now you've seen it with Cleveland. Cleveland, they did it the wrong way. Yes, you get Odell Beckham, a superstar talent, a playmaker, a home run hitter, everything you want in that. But you have to. It wins inside the trenches, and they did it the wrong way. Now they're doing this because they care.
And we've talked about this. Listen, you can't throw the ball from your backside. And you got to get at least 2 to 3 seconds to throw the damn ball. I forget what that quote was from the movie. Oh, the Texas movie, Texas State Football.
Okay.
Remember Blake, the quarterback? Remember that Texas?
Yes.
Rip their shirts off and stare down their neck.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, when you got no time.
Blake the ball. Give him 2 to 3 seconds to throw the ball.
Oh, unnecessary roughness.
Yes, that's a great movie.
Unnecessary roughness.
Now, we talked about the Monday night game Tuesday when we did a little show Tuesday and we talked about it. 49ers, they have multiple first-round picks. They have a good defensive line.
That defensive line's nasty.
If the Browns are going to be successful and get to the playoffs, they're going to face defensive lines and teams that have real good teams. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to beat up the Bengals and the Dolphins and the Redskins and all these bad teams in the NFL because there are a lot of bad teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Now, the Browns, they're in the AFC. That's a positive.
They're in a pretty bad division, too, as well.
Absolutely.
Their defense, their division's not good, T.
No.
So...
listen. So
how are you not taking advantage? Is what I'm trying to say.
Should they trade Beckham if you're going to get the right pieces? If you're going to listen, you're going to have Kareem Hunt back. You're gonna you have Nick Chubb. You have Jarvis Landry. You're gonna get David Njoku. You got Antonio Callaway. You have Rashad Higgins on the team.
And you have a possible franchise quarterback.
You got to understand that you got to protect your franchise quarterback. You know, we laughed about 3-4 weeks ago when the Texans gave up as much as they did for Laramie Tunsil. But look what Texans offensive line did for him last week for Deshaun Watson.
They didn't get sacked finally.
Wasn't sacked. Do you know
finally?
Do you know the 2 games that Deshaun Watson hasn't been sacked in his career? In 27 games, he hasn't been sacked in 2 games.
How many touchdowns did he have?
In both games, he's thrown for 5 touchdowns in both of those games. The other 25 games, he's been sacked 99 times in his career.
My God.
In the same respect, and I know we're going to talk about this, Mahomes has only been sacked 36 times in 22 games. So if you protect the quarterback, he's going to be able to be successful. The Browns have not done that. They have not protected their franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. And Andrew Luck. Hello,
Andrew Luck is done. One of the best. He was supposed to be maybe the face of the NFL at one point.
You don't need all the weapons if you can protect your quarterback. A great quarterback will make those weapons great.
100%. Here's my thing. This is all about, honestly, with these rumors coming out, this is about Baker Mayfield. This is about, we want Baker Mayfield. They believe Baker Mayfield is their franchise quarterback going out forward. And with them making this rumor, with them trying to field offers, it's just showing me, okay, we might have to trade Odell Beckham. It might hurt a little, but guess what? We need offensive line. Baker Mayfield is more important than Odell Beckham Jr. It's plain and simple. So is the experiment over already? I mean, right now, huge game this week. I mean, we'll talk about it in a few minutes. Huge game playing Seattle. What's got to give? Ted, you say watch Cleveland win. I think you already stated it or Tuesday. Watch Cleveland come in.
It's one of those games.
It's one of the weird games.
You know how it is. Listen, one week it's like the team looks really bad and they get blown out, and then the next week it's a weird spread too. The spread was +1 Seattle. Minus 1 Seattle.
Paper has a spread.
I don't really care.
Yeah, you do. All my thing is, this is about Baker Mayfield. If they're really trying to seriously consider trading Odell Beckham Jr., it's about getting protection for Baker Mayfield because they believe he's their franchise quarterback. And if you want to keep him as your franchise quarterback and not deal with the Cleveland Browns' continue success or fails of quarterback, then you better start finding offers and go find offensive line help, because if not, you're going to have another Rough career for Baker Mayfield, and you'll be in the draft looking for another franchise quarterback.
Seattle's -1.5. That's a weird spread at Cleveland. Watch the Browns will win. You'll be like, no way, Ted. It's one. Remember the game last year, the Browns versus the Falcons? It was a weird spread last year, and the Browns ended up blowing out the Falcons in that game.
Oh yeah,
It's a rebound game. It's one of those tricky games. They want you to bet on Seattle. They want you to take Seattle.
Okay. That's what I'm trying. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Franchise quarterback is more important than a star receiver. Is it nice to have that toy? Yeah, of course. It's nice to have a nice, sexy toy on your team.
Listen, I'll put it this way: ask the Colts last week. They don't have the weapons that the Browns do, but they went into Kansas City last week, and what did they do?
They did something a lot of teams.
They did.
And
I don't know about you, but I watched Quentin Nelson beat up some men. I mean, just totally dominant.
Dude, he might be the best offensive lineman in the game right now.
Oh, he's serious.
I mean, there's some great tackles, don't get me wrong, but Quentin Nelson, people said when he came out in the draft, he might be the best lineman prospect in the past 10 years since Joe Thomas. And you know what?
And you think and you think about what the Browns have lost the last 2 years. Joe Thomas retires, one of the best left tackles, and didn't miss a game.
Nope.
While he was
unbelievable, all pro. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
And then you lose Zeitler, who the Giants have.
Now.
So you lose your starting left tackle, who's one of the best in the last 10 to 15 years.
Your starting right guard,
and then your starting right guard, who's one of the best. That makes a difference.
They did it all the wrong way, just like the Giants have done it. The Browns have done it the wrong way. That's why I call them the Cleveland Giants.
And we made fun of Gettleman when he said I was going to build the offensive line.
And guess what? Good for Gettleman, because now the Browns are in the same trouble. They have a quarterback issue because of their offensive line issue. Speaking of franchise quarterbacks, you know how we get to see every generation, we see two greats dueling for 10 to 12 plus years. We saw Peyton and Brady, Favre against Aikman, Montana versus Elway. We got to see the greats. We got to see all that. Starr versus Staubach back in the day. Now could we be seeing this weekend? Finally, it's the first matchup between the two as well. Did you know that? Since they've been drafted in the same draft class, 2 picks are different. Swear to God, it's their first ever matchup. The Chiefs versus the Texans. Because Deshaun Watson, if they did play, might have been out with an injury. They have never played.
Wow.
This is the first matchup playing against one another. Are we looking, ladies and gentlemen, at the new generation, the new faces of the NFL for the next 10 to 12 years, the new rivalry? Think about it.
I think these are the two best.
These are two best young quarterbacks
in the football.
Other than Wentz.
Yes.
Other than Wentz, if I had to choose, obviously Mahomes. Deshaun Watson, I've always liked. I like Deshaun Watson coming out of college. I would take Deshaun Watson over Carson Wentz slightly. Could these be the two faces of the NFL going forward? People love the NFL. People love quarterbacks. This is a quarterback-driven league, right? We always talk about it. Well, fantasy. Oh, we want this quarterback. We got to get this.
Russell Wilson too. But he's 30.
When you do drafting, when you draft in the NFL draft, what are you looking for? You're looking for the franchise quarterback, right? So these two teams have the franchise quarterbacks.
How do the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, the Chicago Bears. Shame on you, because you could have had Mahomes or you could have had Deshaun Watson.
They traded up from 3 to 2 to go get Trubisky.
Whatever. That's why the Bears are
figure. All 3 of those quarterbacks were traded up for. Bears went up 1 spot.
Yep.
Chiefs went up to go
from
10.
25 to 10.
To 10.
And then the Texans traded up from 20 to 12.
Yes. There were 2. It's incredible. And listen, Trubisky has a possibility of being good because of Nagy. But you think about where Deshaun Watson and Mahomes are right now. I mean, it's incredible.
Look at last week. Look what Watson did last week.
5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
Look what Mahomes did last year. 50 touchdowns.
MVP. Deshaun Watson. These are 2 of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. And
they are remarkable because.
Well, you did say it best.
Athleticism. Mahomes. Listen, we know what Mahomes is. He's one of a lifetime quarterback. I don't think we've ever seen anyone like him. He's not the fastest.
No.
But he's so gifted.
The way he just throws that ball, sometimes angles. When he's just looking like this and just throws it, and the guy catches, like, how the hell do you do that, man? You can't even do that in a video game.
Kind of reminds me of a little bit of like a Magic Johnson, a 6'9" point guard.
Steph Curry.
Generational. Generational.
He's trying to change the game of football.
Magic
the way
Johnson.
You could throw a football. The way you can throw a football is like the way Steph Curry's changed the 3-point line now. You could shoot from anywhere.
I like that.
You could throw, but it's true. I've seen it a bunch of times. You could throw it anywhere in the field with Patty Mahomes. Literally, it's like Steph Curry. You can shoot wherever you want in the NBA on the court. He's changed the game like that. That's what Patrick Mahomes is. But, Ted, you have said it, and we have stated it. If we want to see this be the next big rivalry and the two faces of the NFL, and I'm talking specifically more about Deshaun Watson because of the offensive line. The health. Because Patrick Mahomes got beat up last week, but they have injuries on the offensive line. The Texans, if you really want to contend for a Super Bowl and you want to win a Super Bowl as well, you have to keep Deshaun Watson healthy. And just look at your team in your division. Just lost their franchise quarterback too because of health. You keep him healthy, you'll be contending for Super Bowls for the next 10 to 12 years.
The other thing with this too is if you want to make this the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning era, similar trait. Yeah, these two teams got to be in the playoffs and they got to be successful and they got to meet in the playoffs.
Well, both teams are leading their division right now.
Oh, I know. Honestly, the biggest story I think still in this league is the Andrew Luck retirement. How that has totally transformed the entire league. It's changed the game. It's changed everything. When Andrew Luck retired, and I know this is not part of our segment.
That's fine.
But you just look at the division. Andrew Luck and the Colts, I know they're still doing good.
Hey, they won last week.
He's probably was a top 5 quarterback.
Oh, yes.
He was incredible.
Andrew Luck? Ted, Andrew Luck was I thought he was the most valuable player, not named LeBron James in sports.
Now it allows Deshaun Watson to be the front and center leader of that division for the next 10 years. I mean, by him retiring, the Houston Texans should be the dominant team of that division because they have the best quarterback. Mm-hmm. We know what the Titans are. They're average. They're 8-8 because Mariota's an average quarterback in the NFL. The Jaguars, we don't know yet.
They already have quarterback controversy. I'm telling you, that's quarterback controversy written all over the place.
And then the Colts are Jacoby Brissett. I know they're good, but it's not Andrew Luck. It's not Andrew Luck.
They build.
Andrew Luck coming into the NFL was the highest rated quarterback since John Elway.
They build it. The Colts are doing it the right way, though. They get some more weapons. They surround Brissett with some weapons, a T.Y. Hill, and add another receiver to that offense with Ebron and Mack, and that offensive line being already one of the best in the game, if not the best. The Colts are right there. I mean, you go into Arrowhead last week and you do something that not a lot of teams are going to do on Sunday night and beat the Chiefs, an undefeated Chiefs team, and hold them to, I think, 13 points. That's saying a lot. That's a telling story for a team that had beat up on the whole defense.
Especially since every game that Mahomes has started, they scored more than 26 points a game.
But this is, like we just said, Peyton and Brady.
I'm excited for this matchup.
I mean, if you're not excited for this matchup, if this doesn't get you going, I know there's not a lot of Texans Chiefs fans nowadays in this area, but you got to be excited for this matchup because there's going to be points, there's going to be fireworks, there's going to be a lot of big plays.
You know what this reminds me of too?
Tell me, brother.
I said this.
Tell me.
I said this in basketball. The Kobe Bryant, LeBron James thing.
No, I was. You should have held. No, you should have. No, you should have held off. No.
But here's the
it's not the right comparison. It's not right comparison.
No, I know.
This is the break. This is like.
You know what I want when I read. I said that is when games like that happen. You know, like when LeBron would play Dwayne Wade, or like Kobe would play Jordan thing, or certain matchups. You're excited more so. Like every time Peyton Manning and Tom Brady played each other. It didn't matter if the teams were 12-0 or 6-6 or whatever. Even though both teams were successful, you just wanted to see.
You always wanted to see it.
You always want to see the great matchups.
You want to see the great ones go against one another.
Absolutely.
And Patrick Mahomes is already.
Like when Russell Wilson goes against Breeze, or when Packers used to play the Seattle Seahawks, or you want to see those matchups.
Let me ask you.
When Troy Aikman used to play Brett Favre.
Let me ask you this question, and before we get over to the current state of the NFL, final part of this is the current state of the NFL. After this. It's about Watson. Where would you rank Watson right now among quarterbacks? Because I think you would have Mahomes 1, 2, maybe 3.
1 or 2.
Maybe 3.
So
where would you put Deshaun Watson right now in the current quarterback ladder?
6.
Really?
6 or 7. So off the top of my head, I'm not ranking them. I'm just saying Mahomes, Brady, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers,
Breeze.
Not Breeze.
You wouldn't put Breeze in your top 5?
Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson.
You wouldn't put Breeze. Is it because he's injured?
No, he's just older injured. He's not the same quarterback he is.
Okay.
He's
I would still say Breeze is a top 5 quarterback. That's
No, I put Breeze. I put Deshaun Watson higher. No, it's not out there.
That's a little out there.
He's not the same. He's older, Trev. He can't stretch the field like his arm.
What about Brady then?
Brady,
Brady's been strong. We've been talking about the offense. We just talked about the offense.
What if Tom Brady was on the Sean Payton Saints with the weapons? Just tell me.
He'd be doing what Drew Brees is doing. He'd be doing what Drew Brees is doing.
But his arm's a little bit better.
Okay, well, by how much? Who cares? They're both great.
Brees can't stretch we've watched it on this show, the show with Above Your Head. Brees cannot stretch the field. He can't make the throws.
So you would have Watson. Okay.
Yes.
This is a matchup also of two of the top 5 MVP candidates currently. If I had to put my top 5 candidates for MVP, Mahomes would be in there, McCaffrey would be in there,
and Watson.
Watson and Russell Wilson. Those would be my four candidates right now for MVP.
Absolutely.
By no particular order, I would have those as my 4. What's he talking?
Nothing.
Oh, see? It's amazing.
All three of his main topics.
We talked about
the Patriots, Giants, and is Tom terrific going downhill. He's talking about Baker Mayfield and OBJ experiment, and
He'll probably talk about the face of the Watson.
And no, that was right before you were talking.
Let me ask you.
And the second thing was the Houston Texans.
What do you got for a score? We haven't done any scores this year, but I'm curious. What do you got for a score of this game? How many times you think? How many touchdowns?
34-31 Chiefs.
How many touchdowns do you think they both throw? Combination.
7.
Over under. I'll give you 7.5. 7 and 7.
7.5.
Yeah, go 7.5. Over under.
Yeah, I say 7.
Okay, I say 8. I think they both have 4 touchdowns. I'd say about like 38, 35, something like that too. I don't expect any good defense in this. Well, the Chiefs I expect this to be an explosive game from start to finish. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the year. And I'm very excited to see these two finally play. And speaking of the current state of the NFL, what is the current state of the NFL? Because we thought the Chiefs were unbelievable until last week when they kind of got punched in the face and couldn't respond to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, what about this week against the Texans? How about the Browns? Everybody's preseason darling. 2-3 right now. Get destroyed on Monday Night Football.
How about the Ravens?
I was going to get through it, but look at that division. That division has been atrocious. Been horrible. Was that your Super Bowl pick or you picked the Saints?
Picked the Steelers, Saints.
But did you pick the Steelers to win or the Saints?
Picked the Saints to win.
Okay. Your Super Bowl AFC team is not even in the discussion anymore. They're going for maybe a top 5 pick this year.
No,
it's been a weird.
They gave up their first round pick.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
To Miami.
Yeah. Then you look at a team look at San Fran, 4-0 right now, a dominant win. They look really good, but a true test against the Rams. Do the Browns beat the Seahawks this week? It's been the Patriots offense. There's no dominant team this year. Yes, the Patriots are undefeated and their defense has been amazing, but there's all question marks. It's been a weird current season right now. A lot of injuries, big names, quarterbacks. And there's no dominant team, like I said. And then the up and down.
Every team has flaws.
I mean, look at the Atlanta Falcons. So many disappointments. Atlanta Falcons, Pittsburgh Steelers, the Chargers right now. In a battle of disappointments on Sunday Night Football this week. I mean, Ted, what's your one?
How about the Bears last week?
The Bears, another disappointment. The Raiders are 3-2 right now. I mean, they might not win another 5 or 6 games, but they're 3-2 right now.
Detroit Lions.
Look at the Detroit Lions.
Good team.
The Packers, they've been great. The Cowboys, we all thought Super Bowl, they're going to go. But guess what? They come back to reality and get smacked around 2 weeks in a row. Ted, your one take right now, so far, the current state of the NFL, what would be it? What comes right to mind?
Mediocrity.
Okay.
I don't, you said it.
There's
perfect.
A lot of bad teams.
There's no dominant team. Okay. We started the show on this. The Giants, Patriots. The Patriots are good, but they're not great. Their offense has a lot of deficiencies,
but not great.
Okay, a lot of deficiencies. And the Giants' defense, who was 31st or 30th last night in total defense, looked like a top 10 defense against the Patriots. Now, the Patriots next week are going to play the Jets on Monday Night Football. So they're going to get...
Well, Darnold's coming back. That could be a little different.
So think about this.
It could be a little different. Darnold's coming back.
Yes, but here's the thing. They have a Thursday night game, so they get all whole week, plus the weekend, plus Monday Night Football. So they get all that time to prepare for the New York Jets, who can't score anything.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
So they'll be 6-0. After next week, because they'll just play another garbage team, okay? Then the Chiefs, they can't stop anyone on defense. They have the worst rush defense in football, so they have a deficiency. The Cowboys can't beat a good team.
Right now. Is it crazy to think the San Francisco 49ers might be the most complete team in the NFL right now?
I don't think so. I think there's two teams.
Are they the best?
I think there's two
Are they the best team in the NFL right now?
No, they're not even the best team in the NFC. I got 2 teams better than them in the NFC.
Let's hear it. I probably am going to agree with you.
Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints.
I would have said the Seattle Seahawks, maybe.
Saints and Green Bay.
I definitely would pick the Saints. Green Bay's been great. That defense and Aaron Jones, what a beast he's been.
And the reason why I say the Packers is because Aaron Rodgers has not been Aaron Rodgers yet.
So you would okay. So your top 4 in the NFC quick would be the Saints,
1,
Packers,
Eagles, 49ers.
So a 4-0 team, the only 4-0 team in the NFC.
Because they haven't been challenged yet. And here's the thing. If they
Where do you put the Seahawks? 5?
If they if they have to get into a shootout, I don't know if Jimmy G and that offense yet is ready for that type of game.
I think
I
so.
trust
Kyle. I love Kyle Shanahan.
I trust Russell Wilson more so. I trust Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I trust Drew Brees. That's the reason. And you know what the funny thing is? I didn't even mention the Rams.
I know. And you didn't mention
because the Rams
and the Cowboys are still like
the Cowboys are a very good team.
And you just had 5 or 6 teams before saying the Rams. That's how good the NFC. That's how deep the NFC is.
And here's the other thing: we know what the Bears can be when that defense is when they're home and they're ferocious. They can take out anyone's offense in the entire league. You know, so I look at that. The Minnesota Vikings, they have a top 10 defense. They have a top 10 offense. Their quarterback is average. That's why they're not an upper echelon team. There is a lot of mediocrity in the NFL. There's a lot of injuries.
Watch, and this week could be
and I think what's going to make this interesting is when the postseason, when the playoffs do show up,
this week,
you're not going to know who's going to win.
I think this week is very telling in the NFL season. And I think this week with the matchups, you got the Vikings against the Eagles. That's a toss-up game. You got the Browns against the Seahawks. That's a toss-up game. You got the Rams and the 49ers. That's a toss-up game. And then you got Watson versus Mahomes. That's another toss-up game. There's a lot of toss-up games right now and big games with big-name teams that you really could start to see who the really good teams are and the mediocre teams, and then you'll see the bad teams. I mean, hell, you get the battle for the number 1 pick and the worst team in the NFL this week. We're going to get to see truly who's the worst team in the NFL this week. By the way, who do you got in that game? Do you got the Redskins or the Dolphins?
I got the Redskins winning 2-0.
I think that I got the Dolphins.
Bottom of the 9th.
I think the
Dwayne Haskins is going to hit a 2-run.
Final score 3-2. Final score 3-2. It's just been that type of year, but a lot of great games this week.
Do you think one of those teams is trying to lose? Do you think they tried to lose?
Well, we know the Dolphins are trying to tank. The Redskins are just abysmal. They're the worst organization in all of the NFL. They're worse than Miami because we know what Miami's trying to do. Washington, we don't know what the hell they're trying to do. There's now a report out that they're trying to possibly look for trade offers for Dwayne Haskins because they didn't want him when Dan Snyder drafted him.
And their best offensive lineman will not.
He's not playing. They're abysmal. They are the laughingstock of the NFL. Trust me, they are horrible. That game, don't know what's going to happen. It'll be like 6-3 final score. But the NFL, we'll get to see great matchups this week, and we're going to start seeing a telling sign of the real good teams, and like I said, the teams that could compete for a playoff but not get over the hump.
My other takeaway is that the NFC overall is a dominant conference compared to the AFC.
Ted, we just said 6 teams before even saying the Cowboys.
Well, up until last night, well, it didn't even matter. Up until last weekend, 11 of the 16 teams in the NFC had winning records.
That's the current state of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of that, we're taking a break. And when we come back, we're talking MLB. The Final Four is set. The matchup we all been waiting for starts tomorrow. Also, an NLCS preview. But first, we'll get into the Dodgers. The disappointment continues in LA. You're listening to Keys to the City. We'll be right back, folks.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.